Yo, what's up, guys? I want to talk to you guys today about Ica, Peru. Okay, so I've been doing travel guides on all of the cities that I visited in Peru, and so now we are up on Ica, and I'm going to give you guys a travel guide, everything you need to know about visiting there. Okay, so we're going to talk about 5 things specifically. Okay, so first things first, we're going to talk about why you should go or maybe not go. Okay, secondly, we're going to talk about the things to do and see in Ica. Okay. Thirdly, we're going to talk about street scents, what you need to know about walking around the streets in Ica. Okay. Number 4, we're going to talk about your budgeting, what you should be able to expect to pay for things like food and water. Okay. Number 5, we are going to talk about weather and climate. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So why you should go or not go. So here's a nice little view of the Plaza de Armas in Ica. And so it's very similar to the Plaza de Armas that you would see in Lima. Okay. And so point being, the culture and the city in Ica is very much similar to what you would see in Lima. Okay, so if you are already familiar with Lima and you're looking for a place to venture out for a weekend or two, Ica would be a great place to go. Okay, and so here's Ica on Google Maps right here. Okay, and so when we zoom out, we'll see that it's right in the middle, roughly between Cusco and Lima. Okay, and so it's one of the big cities right in the middle of those two major cities. Okay, and so nearby we got the town of Nazca. Okay, so if you want to see the Nazca Lions, it is right nearby Ica. Okay, and also there's another town right here, Pisco. This is another town that is very popular among expats. Okay. And so going back to the Plaza de Armas in Ica, it is just like any other typical Peruvian city. It is a place where a lot of the locals will congregate and meet up and hang out. Okay, so that's the Plaza de Armas, and that's why you should go or maybe not go to Ica. Okay, so now let's talk about things to see in Ica. Okay, so if you are a history person, Ica is one of the places that you are going to want to visit. Okay, specifically if you're interested in the elongated skulls, well, they're real, and you can come see them in the regional museum that is located in Ica. Okay. Secondly, another thing that you guys might be interested in is seeing the cathedrals. Okay, so while we talked about there being a lot of different museums, specifically 3 pretty big museums in Ica. Okay, and there's also a lot of cathedrals for you to see in Ica. Okay, and so here's one right here. I don't actually remember the names of all these cathedrals, but they're so old that people don't really go into them. As you can see, they're gated off, and many of them are actually being renovated currently as we speak. Okay, but that's another thing you can see in Ica are the cathedrals. And so here's another cathedral from the front. This is actually a picture taken through the gate, so that's why you don't see a gate there. Going back to the Plaza de Armas in Ica, here's another nice little view of the plaza. Another thing that you will see a lot of in Ica are the statues. Okay, so one, there's a lot of plazas in Ica. So yes, the Plaza de Armas, this one right here, the big one. But there's also a lot of smaller plazas, and in these smaller plazas, you'll find a lot of statues looking kind of like this. Okay, so here's that same statue, just zoomed out a little bit. Very beautiful scenery and how they set up many of the plazas. And this one I thought was interesting just because of the artwork that's located on here. I was trying to figure out what exactly. Whoa! I was trying to figure out what exactly this is. It looks like some sort of being holding a stick and something else in his hands. I don't know exactly what, but I thought that was interesting. That's why I took a picture of that statue. A fun thing to do in Ica is to just walk around to all of the plazas and see what's going on. There's always, like I said, people congregating at one, the Plaza de Armas, and the other plazas in Ica. So great place to meet people if you are looking to do that. Another little statue, okay. Another big thing about Ica is the amount of shopping that is available. Okay, so this picture is taken right near the commercial center. Okay, this is the Plaza del Sol. It's a very big mall in Ica. Okay, here's actually the hotel that I stayed at in Ica. This actually cost me 20 soles for one night, and it came with, private bathroom, private room, and a shower. So pretty good deal. So that's what you could maybe expect to pay on a hotel in Ica. I was only there for one night, so I couldn't tell you that much about how much it would cost for renting for a month. Here's another view of the Plaza de Armas in Ica. As you can see, there's nice little fountains in the plaza. Very beautiful Plaza de Armas. Here's a picture of one of the streets in Ica. So That's what the streets look like. And so here's another one of the plazas that I was talking about in Ica. Another view of that same plaza. And so here's the center of that plaza we're looking at. I don't remember who this is specifically right here, but we have a nice little statue of a man sitting in a chair. Another thing that's pretty big in Ica is the nightlife. Okay, so it is pretty close to Lima, and one thing that is obviously pretty big about Lima is the nightlife. Well, the same could be said about Ica, and so you'll find plenty of different casinos and other similar options for things to do during the night that are similar to that. Find plenty of that in Ica, okay? So here's some more of the shopping that I was talking about. So a lot of shopping available in Ica, okay? So as you can see, here's a Radio Shack. Well, technically it's Cool Box, but it's owned by Radio Shack, so technically Radio Shack, even though the name is Cool Box. Inside that mall that we were looking at earlier, you'll find perhaps the world's smallest Burger King. Plenty of shopping available in Ica, so if you're stopping, looking for another city to eventually jump to, this is an excellent place to plan and prepare and gather some supplies. Alright, so we can see there's plenty of American fast food in Ica, so we got the KFC and the Pizza Hut, and we got the bigger Burger King in the same mall. They have the world's smallest Burger King, and a normal Burger King, all in one mall. Very funny, right? Alright, so let's quickly talk now about street scents in Ica. Okay, so as I was saying, it's very close to Lima, and culturally, it's about a mixture of Lima and Cusco. Mixture of Lima and Cusco culturally. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, there's two different cultures that come into the Peruvian area. You know, going back with the history, there is the Europeans, the people who came in, and there are the indigenous people. And both of those cultural groups are still very alive and active in Peru today. Okay, and you'll find a lot more of the native indigenous culture, the Inca culture. You'll find a lot of that still today in Cusco, whereas you will find much more of the European culture, or the Spanish conquistador culture in places like Ica and Lima, okay? But as I was saying, Ica is about a mixture of the two of those, okay? So a very nice balance between the two different cultures, okay? And specifically in regards to the danger walking around at Ica, well, in my experience when I was walking around at Ica, I never felt unsafe. Okay, you know, when I was in Lima, there were times when I was walking around the city feeling really unsafe, but that wasn't really the case in Ica, okay? In Ica, it is a pretty kind of quote-unquote big town. As we can see here, there's almost 1 million people living there, okay, comparative to Lima, where there's about 8 million people living there, so about 8 the size of Lima, but still very big, okay? And so, long story short, street sense-wise, just watch your pockets, and preferably don't be like me and travel alone. If you want to be really safe, just make sure you have a buddy with you, and you'll be fine, okay? But that's the street sense walking around in Ica. Now let's talk a little bit about the budgeting in Ica and what you should expect to be paying, okay? So as I was saying earlier, I got a hotel in Ica for 20 soles for the night, so it's about $6, $7, something like that, okay? So $5, $6, $7 a night for just your housing, okay? And then food is another thing that you will need in Ica. And so if you watched my previous cost of living in Peru video, you would know that things are generally a little bit more expensive in the Lima area. Okay, so technically Ica is not in the Lima area, but you will find that some of the prices are a little bit higher in Ica than they would be in, say, Cusco or the Sacred Valley. Okay, so specifically, you'll still be able to get your 5 sole meal, for example, if you are very careful with your searching, but odds are more than likely you'll have to expect to pay about 8 to 10 soles for your meal, okay? And also for water is really not that much more expensive in Ica, but you know, as I was saying, you just have to account for the prices naturally rising as you get closer to Lima. So same thing here with Ica for the water, about 4 soles for your water. Okay, so you can get your 2 liters for as little as 250 soles, but odds are more than likely you're going to find it for about 4 soles for a 2-liter bottle, okay? Now, lastly, let's go ahead and finish up by talking about the weather in Ica. Okay, so as we're looking at a little bit earlier, it's kind of in the desert nearby Nazca, so you will find that it's pretty hot, okay, in the 20s, upper 20s in the Celsius, okay, to the lower 20s in the Celsius, all the way down to the teens, so 60s to 80s annually, so pretty warm temperatures in Ica, but since it's in the desert, you will find that there is not a whole lot of precipitation. Alright, so that's all I have for you guys today on Ica. To summarize, there's plenty of museums, cathedrals, and plazas to see in Ica. So if you are a history person or interested in the history of Catholicism, Ica is a wonderful place to visit, okay? And also, if you are interested in the casinos and nightlife, Ica is a wonderful place to get away from a place like Lima for a weekend, okay? But that's all I have for you guys on Ica. That is my travel guide. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Be well. Peace.